Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Aurora 4X C#. Let me get my timer up. Okay, so you can ignore some of this research project stuff here because some of it's just kind of theory, not necessarily how stuff will actually look. But I did go and basically design roughly what a next generation of some of our stuff would look like. Especially, the big thing was using the initial fusion drives as opposed to the magnetic fusion drives that we're currently using. But none of it is necessarily finalized. Like, for example, I kind of sort of ran into a bit of a problem, in a sense, for some of our stuff. So I can design a fighter that is now about 1100 kilometers a second faster, just because the engine has 300, or excuse me, not 300, an extra 3 engine power. But it is a significantly more fuel-efficient engine. This is a 1,312.3 liters of fuel use per hour, as opposed to 1,500 and some odd. But I don't have a reason to add more fuel. But I don't think realistically I can actually remove enough fuel to make the fighter a small enough size. That is just a nice, easy number to work with when it comes to multiplying. I mean, I think I can get this down to probably like 350. But I think the thing I'm considering with the extra size that I get is maybe we upgrade the railguns on the fighters from the 10 centimeters that they're currently using up to 12 centimeters. It is an extra 100 tons. That's the main thing. I'm only saving like 22 tons. So the big thing is, can I make this engine more efficient somehow? To be able to maybe remove some fuel tanks to make up the difference. But the reality is, to make up for adding 100 tons, I need to basically be able to remove all of the small fuel tanks, which I don't think we can really do. To be able to go any smaller, I would have to potentially decrease actually the number of shots fired by each railgun, which I could do. I could certainly do. It's not necessarily a deal breaker if I go that route. But yeah, that is something to consider. And of course, it requires a larger reactor as well to go with it. So again, this is all sort of theory because I can't quite get the numbers for getting the size of the fighters down enough to result in a nice, easy number to multiply with. So the plan is not necessarily to actually build any of those right now. I'm still fine-tuning the details. Okay, that is the small craft ECCM. So let's go ahead and swap that out on the fighters, or well, on the strike fighters at least. Theoretically, I'm pretty sure you can add this onto like, normal size craft, like a destroyer. It's just that it's significantly further behind from what I get with the full size And while I could use compact ECCM and not be too far behind, there's just... It's 100 tons, and generally speaking, I don't really have a use for the 100 tons on a large ship. If I was building like a 1,000 ton fast attack craft, it might make a difference. But for an 11,000 ton destroyer, not really. Like, it legitimately does not really matter. I mean, I'm not building any more labs, so we're not going to do that. Never mind. We're finding quite a bit of stuff out in Epsilon Indy. I'm not really paying attention to the resources being found because we'll take a look at it when we're done research, or surveying, rather. I was going to say researching, but that's not true. Because that's not what we're doing. We're surveying. Very different. Minimum engine power. Don't really care for that generally speaking, because I don't have a use for it, for being completely honest. Could go for increasing the max size of the engines that I can use, but that doesn't really matter for the most part, because I'm not... Outside of civilian craft, I'm not planning to use any, like, just ridiculously large single-engine craft. Because why would I? The way I see it, at least when it comes to particularly the military stuff, you need to have redundancy. Because you don't want to have your military vessels get knocked out because, oh, their engine got destroyed because you only gave them one. No. I'd rather have to have it limp home at half speed because one engine got destroyed. I would much prefer that instead of it not being able to move at all. So, yeah, it's kind of a situation where I don't really care too much for max engine size anymore. I don't think I really get a use out of it. And minimum engine power modifier doesn't really matter because I'm not planning to build like tons of, or, put on a craft tons of small, maybe not necessarily small, but, super low power engines for the sake of efficiency. I'm not planning for that. Why would I? That seems ridiculous. So I think we're going to go ahead and I think just dump points into continuing research on fuel consumption efficiency. I think that is the biggest advancement that we could make in engine tech beyond, new engine tech. Low ground survey potential on a place in Epsilon Indy. Minimal at another place in Epsilon Indy. And we got some aliens popping up in Size City, and that is not fun at all. Shit. Question is, what direction are they heading? They are heading towards us, and we don't have the excuse of civilian population to protect us. So you guys are gonna... Movement orders. Remove all. Hightail it back to Earth as quickly as you possibly can, even though you're not particularly quick. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and attempt to move. Technically, it's supposed to be Quick Reaction Force 1 who comes out here. I'm going to go ahead and just tell them to fly for Alpha Centauri. I had them going to A2, which is fine. Yeah, the big thing is that I cannot outrun them. They are significantly faster than my current freighters. Well, not necessarily current freighters, those are old freighters. Technically, our current freighters can just outrun them. What I think I'm going to end up doing, because it looks like it might actually be a good idea, is to actually set us up with refitting this stuff. Our freighters need to be refit, all of them. Particularly these ancient ones that are just kind of sitting here. And I want you to add another slipway to speed up those refits, because doing it 3 at a time is not fast enough for my liking. So we're going to lose the Syseti B1 mineral group. That is a guarantee. And there is nothing I can do about that. They are just way, way too slow to be able to get to safety. So the Arlington and the Ashland have been destroyed. That is not a surprise. Yeah. Alpha Centauri has arrived. This is also one of the reasons why we're looking to have all of our stuff get escorts. But as of right now, the Lande is the only one that actually has any escorts. I haven't done a particularly great job of queuing up the rest. So let's go ahead and queue up 3 more. Those will be out in March of 2147, March of next year. That might actually be able to be sped up just a little bit. Depends on if I happen to have any components. I'm not 100% certain on that. I probably don't, but because I realistically should always check this, just so that they use them if they happen to exist. Again, I don't believe they do, because I'm not using the auxiliary controls. And you don't have maintenance storage bays, so yeah, so I don't have any applicable components in this scenario, but that's fine. Looks like we have transports coming in for Syseti again. Oh yeah. Okay. This is going to be fun. What is that Sesh class doing? I'm not sure what that Sesh class is doing. And the question is, where are they going? God damn, we have way too much shit in the Sol system for civilians for me to be able to look at that and figure out where the hell people are going. Also, I should probably tell the colonies to not do that. Go ahead and unload your colonists and refuel and resupply. And you know what? So we can speed up that as well in the future. Let's also go ahead and, if I can find the colony ships, there they are, block 4s. Go ahead and build I'll put them in unassigned cargo fleet for now. Makes them just a little bit easier to find. Go ahead and queue those up. That is 3 more. Let's just do 5. Let's just do 5. 2 more to get us to 5. I think they might be going for B1 again, potentially. I'm not quite certain. Because that Gatas just seems to be sitting there. Which is very strange in of itself. Yes, that makes 0 sense, but for some reason that Gatas is just sitting there. Let's head out to Epsilon India. Are you... Okay, you're doing the geological survey still. Okay, why are we getting such small increments? Okay, they are hitting civilian shipping again. Okay, show actives and this stuff, and let's go. The big thing for me is whether or not the Gatas will actually stay detected as we approach. I will never remember off the top of my head what our railguns are. They're 210 now. Let's say for 200. No, let's go for 190. Nah, 200 is fine. Follow the Gatas at 200,000. Okay, the sesh now is being detected. Change of plans. Go for the sesh first. I don't think we've ever actually engaged a sesh. Like, we've had them, but I don't think we've ever actually engaged one. I'm pretty sure this is not the first time we detected one. It's just, like I said, I believe the first time we've actually had the opportunity to engage. So, 15 centimeter railguns, we will be able to fire at max range. Nope, fear target. Wrong destroyers. Tell you to engage. Tell that one to engage. Make sure you guys are not set up to engage because I actually don't want you to. We don't need our missiles for this type of stuff. Okay, there's a Yake there as well, but the Sesh is the most important one because we don't have any intel on it besides the fact that it is, we're going to say 25,000 active sensor signature, which technically puts it on par with a destroyer, or excuse me, with a cruiser, roughly. It's actually a little bit larger. And yes, I do have some new cruiser designs that are actually brand new cruiser designs. That's not strictly true. They are brand new in the sense that they have fairly significant changes to them. They are not just, we've upgraded the engine, we've upgraded the armor, we've added an extra active sensor array, things like that. This is a very different cruiser than our current ones because it doesn't use box launchers. It uses a reloadable missile launchers, hence the significantly smaller number. But I'm still fine-tuning this as well. And I have the same with a similar story with our destroyers. At least with the guided missile destroyers, not with the normal destroyers. Again, it's not finalized, and part of the theory behind it is that my next generation of size 8 missiles is going to have an active sensor array on it. I'm just not quite certain yet as to when we will design those, because I don't really need them. Oh shit, quite a bit of stuff here. You know what? I think I will use the missiles, actually, because we don't really know anything about the Sesh class. Like, we really don't know anything about the Sesh at all. So I am going to actually have one of the guided missile destroyers fire a salvo at the Sesh. Because I don't know what types of weapons it has. If it happens to have, say, long range railguns, yeah, no, I don't want to be dealing with that. Thank you very much. Okay, that has been dealt with. Now we can move in and kill the Yayik with guns, no problem. So, fleet open fire. Make sure you guys don't have any targets. You don't. Okay, good. Okay, now we can just close the distance on this Yayik. Still got all those guys out there. That's fine. Impacts, dead. And Captain Billy Speen gets himself the Order of the President for Naval Service for having destroyed a hostile vessel. Now, these guys, we all know, don't have weapons. So I'm going to say move to engage the Gatas at 200,000 kilometers. Oh, yes, I need to tell you to cease fire fleet, otherwise you will move in 5-second increments. Yeah. First things first, go for the Yayik. "30-second increments now. 5 seconds. Probably could have done a couple more 30s realistically, but I just want to be on the safe side. Don't want to accidentally end up inside their weapons range. Next, you go for that Yayik. You go for that Yayik, assigned to fleet. Okay, that one is dead. Make sure you guys still okay. Yes, you are okay. Just gotta double check that stuff. Whoops. Clear all targets. Go there. There, assigned to fleet. 5 seconds. Fire, fire, fire. Dead. Assign to fleet. 5-second increments. Fire, fire, fire. Dead. Assign to fleet. Keep forgetting. Spacebar always opens whatever the last... Well, spacebar interacts with whatever the last button you pressed was. So if it's one of these buttons up here, it'll just reopen that screen. Okay, now we can move to engage the Gatas, which I believe this is the first Gatas that we've realistically actually had an opportunity to engage, I believe. Or am I remembering incorrectly? No, we actually have destroyed a Gatas before. It's just it's been so damn long, it feels like. And also, for some reason, the game moved me back to looking at Soul, and I don't know why. Oh, because this broke. Oh, there was a secondary explosion that time. Couple of secondary power system explosions that time. So it's going to be a little bit until we can get the resources from Pi Libre again. Ceasefire fleet. Actives off. The Arends and Ainsworth used up a ton of their maintenance supplies. So we're going to have to head back to Earth. Refuel and resupply. And then I'm going to manually tell you to load ordnance as a separate order after you refuel and resupply. Because for some reason, it seems like if I tell you to refuel and resupply, or if I tell you to refuel, resupply, and load ordnance from colony, you don't actually load the ordnance sometimes, which is very strange, but it's just how it works, I guess. Sometimes when the game decides to work like that, at least. Oh. And our destroyers would be a fair bit faster with the new engines. It should be noted as well. I could actually make them a fair bit faster. And be still more fuel efficient as well. Because the current ones are a fuel use per hour of 90.6 liters. While the new ones are 84.9. We'll just say 85. Round up. It's a nice, easy thing to do. But I don't think we're going to be doing those refits for a little bit. Now that that's all done, let's go ahead and continue with trying to get our refits of our freighters done, because as it turns out, those are actually important. I know, shocker. Smallcraft ECM2, I don't really care for. Let's go ahead and dump all these points into getting that fuel consumption, because I do actually kind of like that. Okay, wonderful. You say you've completed all your orders, but I'm still going to double check. Yep, okay, you got the fuel. Wonderful. I just have to double check that because I can't trust you guys to actually do that. Couple more ground survey potentials in Epsilon Indy. I am really thinking Epsilon Indy might be a good place to go. I really am. But again, I haven't actually double checked the resources, so until we know about all of the resources, it's a little hard to say. Okay, so how many automated mines do I currently have in store? 100. Okay. So the question is, where was I wanting to send these 100? Was I putting them onto Venus? Or was I planning to put them somewhere else? I think I might have been planning to put them on something. Might have been Lalande. But frankly, I don't really recall. Also, I want you to build 11 more if they are going on Lalande. Lalande, or, well, actually, no, I'll hold off on that. I'll figure it out later. Lalande, you're going to go ahead and request demand for 91 automated mines. Earth will then proceed to supply you with 91 automated mines. And we will eventually get those automated mines out there. Somebody else got promoted to commander of the... Oh, yeah, speaking of salvage command. Oh, well, there's the 70 centimeter cannonades that I researched just to further advance our ground forces tech for when I maybe eventually probably design new ground forces. We could go ahead and start getting into the 80 centimeter ones, which I don't care for. That is a little too expensive for my liking. 250,000 research points. It's one thing if it's going to help me out significantly. It's another when it's not desperately needed right this second. Let's go for... What do we got? Could go ahead and research the next level, or at least start researching the next level of engine drives, solid core antimatter drive, which is potentially worth it because I'm not realistically planning to refit with the current ones. So let's go ahead and at least get started on that. It's going to take forever to research, at least right now. Oh, good. Looks like people have been assigned. Or at least automated mines have been assigned here, so we are going to see those at some point. Oh, did I ever finish assigning the military academies? I don't think I did. Oh, no, I did. I did. Okay. Got a science person on Mars. And general of the army, although technically it only needed a major general, actually, apparently. Here on Luna. And then, of course, the Navy is in charge of Earth. And actually only needed a rear admiral and not a fleet admiral. I swear when I originally put somebody in charge, they needed to be a fleet admiral game. But I'll take your word for it that they don't actually need to be a fleet admiral. I will just take your word for it. So I guess we need to figure out where I want to put another one. But also, how many people does that give us now? 150 officers a year? 76,000 some odd crewmen a year? Yep, okay, that's all good. Yeah, the big thing is the crewmen and junior officers is the big thing that changes based off training level, not so much your officer graduates. I know the survey, the Explorer rather, had some issues out in Epsilon Indy with maintenance. We should probably check on it again. Make sure it's still going. Because I think it was with its engine. But it should have more than adequate maintenance supplies to take care of itself. I'm pretty sure. Add another slipway, refit. Yeah, let's go ahead and check out Epsilon Indy. How are you doing? You're doing the gravitational surveys, and so far, Epsilon Indy looks like it's a dead end, which is not necessarily a bad thing. If Epsilon Indy ends up being a dead end, that just makes it an even better place to go and colonize, in my opinion. Because then I only need to worry about this one jump point. Okay, some of the freighters finished their refits. Let's go ahead and queue up the others. Or, well, rather, queue up some more. Ah, damn, we happened to find one. I mean, it's not surprising, but I kind of really would have loved Epsilon Indy to just not have any jump points except for the 1 and 2 Iota Ursa Majoris. But since we're only doing the hit the wrong button. Okay, there we go. Now what finished here? Oh. The colony ships. Detach fleets, colony fleet. Join that fleet. Wonderful. That'll help speed up our colonization, or well, rather our attempts to populate Saiseti B1 quite a bit, although it's doing pretty good for itself now, finally, so we might be able to kind of leave it be to an extent. I guess it just depends on what's its population growth exactly. Annual growth rate of 5%. Of course, that doesn't, tell me the actual amount, and I don't care to do the math, if I'm being completely honest. So it has a 49 and some odd million, 5% a year. Honestly, it'll probably take care of the worker shortage on its own without too much of a hassle, so I think we can kind of leave it be. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and leave that be. I don't need to babysit it really anymore, I don't think, personally. As for here in Epsilon Indy, what do we have? Only show me moons with minerals, and do not show me any comets that happen to exist. So A1 is worthless, A2 is worthless, A3 has tons of calcite and uranium, but it's not going to be the easiest place to colonize. A4 is worthless. Moon 2 of A4, bit of duranium and corundium. 13, bit of vendorite and uridium, not really worth speaking of. A5 is worthless. The fifth moon of A5, not really worth writing home about. The seventh moon has tons of sorium and uridium, so that makes you worth colonizing. I'm going to go ahead and plop down a colony there. I'm also going to go ahead and plop down a colony on A3 as well. Not that I'm going to, actually colonize it anytime soon, but we can at least lay claim. The 12th moon is also fairly nice, so we're going to go ahead and lay claim to that, and it has a good ground survey potential. Six, tons of tritanium and a fair bit of corundium. We're going to plop a colony there too. 7, tiny amount of sorium, not really worth writing home about. Its first moon has a little bit of everything, and a fair bit of it too, so that might be worth considering. The fourth moon has tons of neutronium, mercasium, a fair bit of iridium, and a small amount of vendorite, and has a level 2 ground survey potential that I think is worth considering a colony on, just because of all that neutronium and mercasium in particular, though the iridium's kind of nice too. The fifth moon has a little bit of everything, but nothing really to write home about, and can I orbital mine it? I could, so yeah, that's probably going to be an orbital mine. 10th moon has a fair bit of sorium, corundium, and galsite, and a little bit of some other stuff too. That is worth a colony, I think. The 12th moon is small amount. I mean, it's a okay amount, I guess, of duranium, which is not a resource I'm particularly, desperate for. Especially when you add in the 12th moon of the 5th planet from the first star. Has quite a bit of duranium, so yeah, I don't really need that. Thank you very much. We did not complete a survey of the dwarf planets, apparently. Okay. Well, you need to do a better job. This is 8 and 9. So let's go ahead and get him to go and check those out, because apparently he didn't think to do so. B2 has tons of sorium and a fair bit of it. I'm going to go ahead, and that is a gas giant, so we're going to have to do sorium harvesters, which is fine. Oh, tankers to try to bring that. Yeah, okay, we're going to be turning Epsilon Indy into like a second Sol system, basically. Which means it's going to need to have its own fleet. Epsilon Indy... Well, so the moon of B2 is not worth writing home about. The 13th moon has a fair bit of duranium, neutronium, and boronide, which are kind of nice. It also has a level 2 ground survey potential. Bit more neutronium on the 15th moon, and then the rest of the resources aren't really worth writing home about. And an absolutely minuscule amount of galsite on the 16th moon. B3, nothing at all. B1, the first moon of B3. Nothing to write home about. Third moon. Okay, that one is a little bit worth writing home about. 80 million duranium. 75 million tritanium. Okay, yep, that's worth a colony. It's worth a colony. How do I plan to get the resources from Epsilon Indy B to Epsilon Indy A? Because Epsilon Indy B is so far away that mass drivers will take a literal age to get their resources to Epsilon NDA. But do I really want to build freighters just for that? And like their own design of freighters because they don't really need a ton of fuel? But they will, I believe, need a jump drive to be able to take advantage of the Lagrange points. Because I believe to use a Lagrange point, you do still need a jump drive. Eighth moon is not worth writing home about. 11th moon is not worth writing home about. 16th moon has a fair bit of stuff that is worth considering, but holy shit, is it all expensive. Just took a look at the colony costs now, and they're over 7. So these are not going to be fun places to colonize. But they're certainly worth it, because they have resources, and lots of it. And the 17th moon is not really worth writing home about, then of course C has nothing in its orbit. Okay, thank you game for deciding to pause when the civilian sector scraps their stuff, because that's clearly something that I care about, oh so much. Missile launcher reload rate 6, that is helpful, maybe, possibly, depends upon whether or not I actually implement the designs for those other new potential. Just guided missile cruisers and destroyers. Because I may not, for being honest. Okay, we surveyed 8 and there was nothing there. Is there anything around 9? I mean, probably not. I think it's a safe bet. Harley Shipyard finished adding another slipway. It's perfect because I need you guys to continue with the refits. Okay, what do we have around 9? Anything worth it? Nope. Nope. Nothing worth it whatsoever. And there's some further terraforming progress. Always nice to have. Let's see, so that's going to finish February of, what is that, like 7 years from now? I really wish I had more people who were good at the whole construction production field. Because this is seriously worth being considered. But 15 and 10 labs right now are in the absolute best case scenario, 22 labs. That's just not that good. But if I have nothing else really worth researching, I should probably go for it anyway. Just to, get it out of the way, I guess, basically. Okay, I'm going to tell you to auto route to. Well, I can't tell you to auto route to Seoul because, of course, not. I don't know why you can't auto route to Seoul. You should be able to. I took a wrong turn somewhere, didn't I? Nope. There's Saiseti, there's Seoul. I don't know why your auto route by system was not showing Seoul, but for whatever reason it wasn't. There we go. We got that fixed. Also, I need to remove your orders because you don't need those standing orders anymore because you're not going to be doing them. Is Earth still building the mines? I'm pretty sure I unpaused that. Right? Yes, those are unpaused. Wonderful. Okay, good. 'Cause theoretically, outside of the infrastructure cost and the fact that I don't actually have any free freighters, well, that's not strictly true. I do have free freighters, they just don't have an escort. Because I'm still trying to build the escorts. I could have one of the quick reaction force guys escort them temporarily. It's a valid option. Yeah, let's do that. Do I want to tell you guys to... Do I? I'm going to detach you guys. And you're going to go to fleets. Cargo Fleet 1, join us. Subfleet again. Okay, Cargo Fleet 1. You are the nice fancy 4s already, correct? Yes, you are. Wonderful. I've got a mission for you. Load installations, infrastructure. Auto route. Annoyingly. Again, I need to hold your hand to get you out there, and I don't recall what the opposite... God damn, if I could speak. Opposite route is Siceti, 25 Ursa Minoris, Epsilon Horologi, Kuiper 79, Mu Reticuli, 177 Hercules, Iota Doratus, 155 Hercules, Captain's Star, shoot. Do I want to do a pit stop here? No, because that was Sorium, so that's not what I'm looking for in this scenario. Stuve 2398, Sigma Eridani, WX Ursa Majoris. Okay, do I want to do a pit stop in Ursa Majoris before we decide to actually start colonizing Epsilon Indy? Do I want to build up this region first so I have a bit of a pit stop partway through? No, I don't think I do. We will, we'll double back on that one later. 109 Aquarii, Iota Ursa Majoris. Do I want to colonize Iota Ursa Majoris? I'm inclined to say yes. But the reality is I could probably colonize Iota Ursa Majoris if I can get Epsilon Indy at least started. Because Epsilon Indy is going to have quite a bit of population and resources at its disposal that it can use to then facilitate the colonization of Iota Ursa Majoris. But of course, Iota Ursa Majoris also has resources that can potentially prove beneficial for colonizing Epsilon Indy, but honestly, I'm inclined to just let's go Epsilon Indy first. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Epsilon Indy now. Where do I want the capital, effectively, of Epsilon Indy to be? Because that is the question. Now, Epsilon Indy seems to be claiming that there is something there that is adequate for colonizing. Because got a dark blue, which is supposed to mean that there is something here that I can colonize. If you're thinking the asteroids game, I think you're on crack, because I have zero interest in them, to be completely honest with you. I think you are sorely mistaken if you think I'm going to go there. So who gets to effectively be the capital of Epsilon Indy? I'm thinking Epsilon Indy A3. Because I kind of would prefer for it to be a planet and not a moon. Who wants the capital of their system to be a moon? Sure, it's not the most resource rich. That honor would depend a little bit. Well, actually, you know what? Let's see. What do I need to build? Construction factories. I need duranium and neutronium. Okay. Who has duranium and neutronium? Particularly those two in large quantities. Neutronium, duranium, no neutronium. Okay, looks like we might actually have a bit of a situation here. In that I apparently don't seem to have a planet, certainly a planet, but even a moon that has a fair bit of duranium and neutronium. There's a bit here on the first moon of A7. But do I really want that to be the first colony? It would kickstart the resources. Can I orbital mine that one, though? No, I can't. It's too big. How big is it? Size. Diameter 1800. Okay, yep, nope. I'm never going to be able to orbital mine that. I'm pretty sure. We haven't really put any research into orbital mining, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. Well, shucks. Well, when it comes to a cheap place to colonize, gonna be honest, Epsilon Indy A3 is kind of the best bet. It has duranium, it has galsite, two very important resources for more advanced stuff. But it's gonna be a little while to get Epsilon Indy built up, because unfortunately there is no one planet that has tons of duranium and neutronium, the two resources needed to kickstart construction. But yeah, we can get started on this at least. So we're going to go ahead and have the capital of Epsilon Indy effectively be Epsilon Indy A3. So unload all installations. And now I need to manually tell you to track back to Earth, because otherwise you will not do so. And again, we will be cutting it somewhat close when it comes to making it back. So, Iota Ursa Majoris, 109 Aquarii, WX Ursa Majoris, Sigma Eridani, Struve 2398, and looks like you do not need a jump drive to use the Lagrange points. That's wonderful to know. Actually, shoot, you can't actually do this because I don't have the jump points, because you don't have jump drives of your own. So we're gonna wait a bit longer on this. Um, yeah. Shoot. What I'm gonna go ahead and set this order up, and then I'll do create a template so I can already have this to speed things along in the future. 15, iota, 117, reticuli, Kuiper 79, epsilon horologi, 25 Ursa minoris, Iceti, Sol, Earth, refuel, resupply, cycle orders, create templates. Pretty sure I spelled epsilon wrong. Or at least for some reason it looks wrong. I don't know why. So there we go. Okay. Remove all that. And if I try to add this back. Wonderful. Okay. So at least I will have the orders set up because yes, the big thing is that we don't actually have the stuff set up for this. Yeah. Whoopsie daisy. I need to stabilize some more jump points. So who's where? Pi Libre. Okay, and Pi Libre is closer, I believe. Yes, it is. Wonderful. Where's the first tug group exactly? Wolf 359. Yeah, how about you come back to Seoul? Refuel, resupply. Then you're gonna go ahead and head to... God damn it, how do you get to Pi Libre? Epsilon... Or excuse me, 61 Hydra... Bernard Star... Epsilon Indy... Pi Libre... Fleets... Why is Fleets not there? Oh, because you're an Epsilon Indy, never mind. Here... Tractor and a ship and fleet. Okay, now... Head back down. Bernard Star, 61. Seti. We have not done Ursa Majoris. Release tractored ship. Do I actually have to release the tractored ship to be able to do this? I don't think I do. It's just kind of force a habit, but if I want to be strictly accurate, I don't think I actually have to do this. But whatever. Yeah. Go and release it there at Ursa Minoris. 25 Ursa Minoris, the jump point there on the Seti side. This is going to take a while unless I double dip. You know what? I'm going to double dip. And by that I mean I'm going to change orders. You're going to grab this guy. You're going to go to FL Virginis. Here. Lalande, Alpha Centauri, Sol, refuel, resupply. Second tug group is going to actually head out. And tractor this guy. Whoops, tractor any. Oops. Damn it. Great if I could get this right. There we go. Release there. This is admittedly also one of the reasons why sometimes I don't actually do jump stabilization stations. Sometimes I do actually do jump stabilization ships. That way I'm not needing to juggle this around. And I might end up doing that. We'll see. It depends. Quite frankly, it's a little bit annoying. Not too big on it. I'm really admittedly not. It is not fun needing to tug those things around all the damn time. So let's consider if I were to actually, do that. What would that look like? Switch you off of no armor because you are going to have armor. Do I have any new jump stabilization? I do. I have a 150 as opposed to a 180. That speeds things up a little bit. Does use up more resources. But meh, whatever. It speeds things up. That's not the engine you're going to use. You're going to use a commercial engine, so you'd be using the 800s or the 920s. Does anything use the 920s? I don't think anything does. Oh no, the new freighters do actually. Damn, fucking. Yeah, this is a little too big for my liking. But of course, like half its damn weight is a jump stabilization module. You could use the small, it should be noted, but if you use the small, if I recall correctly, it's 360 days. Or you double and you get 180. And they stay the same size and you shave off a month. Of course, I could research some better ones. 20,000 would get me down to a 120, about 4 months, as opposed to the 5 months that I do now. Or, well, the 5 months that I could do now if I were to, use this one. Which, again, I am seriously considered doing because I think we have the resources spare, and quite frankly, I don't really care to deal with the needing to juggle around. I really don't like it. I really don't. I'm not big on it. I'm really not. So I think we might end up actually doing this. I just need to remember, what name did we use for this? God's Sky. So this is going to be the Aquaman now. Now, of course, the thing is, this is an older engine. I could give it the new engines. Could design myself a brand new civilian engine that is basically the same as this current one at 4,600 tons, and I'm guessing 50% power. I don't know, actually. Yes, exactly 50% engine power would be 1,150 engine power for this one. It is not quite as fuel efficient, but that's okay. If I could use less engines to achieve the same speeds, that's not a bad thing, is it? Of course, could also kick it up to 1250. Let's see how these compare. Prototypes. Copy, because okie. So current ones are 4,600, we'll say. If I do 10 of the same size, but obviously still faster, we get up to 57. And we still stay under the, and of course we stay the same size. If I do the 5,000 ton versions, as opposed to the 4,600, I end up needing to adjust my values a little bit more. Particularly to try to get the size under 100,000 tons, because I don't have anything that can actually build a capacity that size. But that is an option. You still have a year's worth. You still have over a year's worth. You are like a year and a half. Now, of course, I could always go for the extra fuel efficiency. Still do a 920, but be more fuel efficient to achieve it. Significantly so. Let's see. So this would be same size, still a little bit faster, still a little bit more fuel efficient. Do another copy. And refresh. This is a 1035. If I do 1035, again, more fuel efficient. So let's remove a very large fuel tank. Do I really need to remove a very large fuel tank? Not really, actually. If anything, I'd probably say to keep the fuel, all things considered. Realistically, that's probably what it would look like. We're going to delete this one. We're not going to use a 1250. Go ahead and obsolete that component. We're going to be looking at either using the current 920s that the freighters are using, in which case I'm looking at roughly, I meant to use smalls, thank you very much. My mouse jumped down, I guess. Looking at something like that, which is fine, because then I get to keep you out for longer. Okay, so yeah, this is roughly what I'm looking at, and a little bit slower, but significantly more fuel efficient. Not that I need that fuel, though. I don't need 750 days at full power. It doesn't benefit me in any real way. So I think we're going to say no to the 1035 as well. And we're going to delete that class. So I'm legitimately considering saying, let's go for this 1150. It is less fuel efficient, which is fine, because I have the space. Is really the thing. I have the space, and it'll get me up to 5750, which is acceptable. You know, that is like a generation older of a destroyer, roughly, I believe. I think we're going to do this, but I might hold off on actually building these jump stabilization ships instead of stations. Just to see about maybe getting some better jump point stabilization modules to speed things up. And again, we can certainly do that. I just need to wait for something to finish researching, which is going to be magazine feed system efficiency in January. And then I can dump those points into this, which shouldn't take very long because it's only 20,000. And I might end up actually doing a couple of instances of this. Again, just to speed things up a little bit. Because we have quite a bit of jump points we need to stabilize. And frankly, I really do not feel like juggling stations. I'm really not interested in juggling the stations, to be completely honest. It's not something I'm too big on. About the only time where I will deal with juggling stations is where I can pretty much put them down somewhere and just kind of leave them be for an extended period. It's not going to be the case here with these jump stations. When it comes to thorium harvesters or an orbital mining platform, which again, we might end up doing because as it turns out, might actually be worthwhile just because Epsilon Indy has a fair bit of resources that are orbital mining eligible. But yeah, so that's going to be it for this part. I will see you all next time. Quick reminder, if you want to stay up to date with the channel, my go-to place for posting channel updates is in my Discord. You can find a link to that down in the description. Until then, glory to the Republic, and I will see you all next time.